Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Monday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini, and welcome back. We are fresh off the weekend with some more Pittsburgh sports news, a little bit of Aaron Rodgers today, a little bit of the Steelers meeting with another draft prospect and taking a couple looks at others. Some Pirates news. Spring training officially ended this afternoon with the Bucs, and now they are heading to Miami for a Thursday afternoon showdown. It will be Paul Skeens on the mound, against Sandy Alcantara for the Marlins. Excited about that. And also, like you saw on the thumbnail before you clicked on today's video, we are going to be doing a mock draft Monday off of PFF's mock draft simulator. So excited to get into all of that. 6 of you in here right now. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications, a little tongue-tied there. Turn on notifications so you never miss when I am live or an upload of my other content. And feel free to like and share this stream and comment here in the live chat. Love interacting with you fine folks, and I would greatly appreciate that here on a Monday where there really wasn't much news over the weekend. Like I said, we're going to talk about an Aaron Rodgers update. We're going to talk more Steelers pre-draft visits, do the mock simulator. Hope to get your guys' feedback on, what you think of my picks. If you have any suggestions when I go in to make a pick, I would appreciate it. And then, we're going to talk Pirates and Penguins as well. So we are going to hop into things right away here with an Aaron Rodgers update over the weekend. Not much more news other than what we discussed on Friday. He went to the Steelers facility Friday morning. News that he was there came out in the afternoon from Jerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Spent about 6 hours in the Steelers facility before he ultimately left. Ian Rappaport on the Pat McAfee show today said that the meeting at the Steelers facility between Rodgers and multiple people, including head coach Mike Tomlin, general manager Omar Khan, offensive coordinator Arthur Smith, Rappaport said that it, quote, went very well. Also over the weekend, you had Pro Football Talks Mike Florio saying that it is, quote, a safe bet that Rodgers will sign with the Steelers eventually. And that eventually was on my end here because, this thing, even though, we saw this thing play out last year with Russell Wilson. Steelers met with him on a Friday. We waited all weekend to see if anything would happen. Boom, late Sunday night, Russell Wilson is a Steeler. That didn't happen this time around. So now we're waiting for Rodgers to make up his mind. It would be very Aaron Rodgers-esque. I believe it is April 9th, I believe, is when the Pat McAfee show is doing a live show in Pittsburgh. Not sure if that is going to be streamed on his YouTube channel. I would hope that it is. I would definitely watch it, but it would probably be a very Aaron Rodgers thing. Pat said that, hey, there's going to be a lot of surprises, some that people may not be expecting, and it'd be very Aaron Rodgers-like for him to go out there in like a Steelers uniform or whatever, or grab a mic. I have signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers, drop the mic, and then walk out, but we'll have to wait until Pat's show then. Going real quick to the comment section. Flacco made it. Welcome back, brother. Tom Wishaw, welcome back as well. I read that Rodgers wanted Rudolph signed as a backup quarterback. I honestly wouldn't doubt that, rumor or report, whatever you read there, Tom. I mean, going back to some comments this offseason, is that you heard two different ideas of what Mike Tomlin and owner Art Rooney II are looking for in a quarterback. Tomlin values mobility, and I don't think a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers is very mobile anymore, if at all. And Mason Rudolph, he's not the most fleet of foot quarterback. He can get out of the pocket if he really wants to, but his play style is more plant his feet in the pocket and take a hit to make a throw. But, Rodgers wanted Rudolph as backup quarterback. I wouldn't doubt it because the Steelers, they probably wanted that too, if they end up with Rodgers, because they've wanted, this is Art Rooney here speaking earlier this offseason, he wanted his quarterback room to be one of the same, so that the playbook isn't fluctuating and changing when somebody goes in and when somebody goes out. So you're really getting, Rodgers at this stage in his career, and Mason Rudolph, the style of play that he has. You're getting two quarterbacks who are pretty much the same. They'll stay in the pocket, they'll get the ball out on time and to their top targets. I think DK Metcalf and George Pickens are going to feast pretty much no matter which of those two, whether it be Rodgers or Rudolph at quarterback. So I don't doubt for 1 second, I should say, that that report or rumor that you heard of Rodgers wanting Rudolph signed as a backup quarterback. I don't doubt that one bit. So, it's no secret anymore that the Steelers are aggressively pursuing Rodgers. And with the New York Giants, I mean, they sort of did what the Steelers did, signing Mason Rudolph. They now no longer have one quarterback in Tommy DeVito under contract. They signed Jameis Winston. I believe that was Saturday night. So all of you who were hoping that Jameis Winston could possibly be a Steeler, I knew it wasn't going to happen. Well, it's definitely not happening now. He signs a 2-year deal, I believe it was, with the New York Giants. Most likely going to be a fringe starter up there for whatever young quarterback they take in the draft. And, like I said, I think that's, just a signing they did, kind of like what the Steelers did for Rudolph. So barring some massive change of heart and Hail Mary from the Minnesota Vikings, just reading the tea leaves of what's out there, Rodgers will be a Steeler. The Giants will probably draft Shadur Sanders, or if for some reason Cam Ward is there at number 3 in April, Russell Wilson could very much be a Cleveland Brown. His options are dwindling. Be absolutely hilarious if, we get to the season in September and you see it's, Russell Wilson starting over Kenny Pickett at the beginning of the season for the Browns. And then up in Minnesota, you'll probably see Joe Flacco, maybe even Ryan Tannehill after taking a year off. Someone like that to back up JJ McCarthy up there. Going back to the comments here. Just got up and saw something about Kendrick Bourne could be a BS site. Kendrick Bourne is very interesting. Let me go here to my Twitter feed. If anything, it'd be popped up there almost immediately. Steelers do have a signing, but it's not Kendrick Bourne. The Steelers are claiming offensive lineman Lecitus Smith. I don't know how to pronounce that first name. Off of waivers from the Patriots. That's per Tom Pelissero. Per Tom Pelissero. So, Lecitus Smith is on his way to the Steelers. That's an offensive guard here. 2 players the Patriots cut recently were claimed off waivers today. Guard Lecitus Smith is heading to the Steelers, while linebacker Curtis Jacobs joins the Titans. So that is per Tom Pelissero. Let me excuse me real quick. Let me real quick get a Pro Football Reference profile on Smith here. New Steelers offensive guard Lecitus Smith being claimed off waivers. I'm going to be completely blunt. Says here he was drafted in 2022. If he was drafted, went to Virginia Tech, started his career in 2022 with the Arizona Cardinals. Made an appearance in 10 games, started 2 of those. Being completely honest with you here, I didn't really know that this dude existed until now. 26 years old. Where's his career? Career here, career 1 year in Arizona, 1 year with the New England Patriots. Last year, played 8 games, started 1 with the Patriots last year. Says here he was a center for the Patriots, but he was a guard for Arizona. So, honestly speaking, I think that this is going to be a camp body, most likely. Maybe this guy can perform his way into a backup spot if he's a guard. Steelers pretty thin at guard right now, I do believe. You got Isaac Seumalo and Mason McCormick. You got Spencer Anderson, Dylan Cook. He's pretty much limited to being a backup tackle right now. So Steelers, I thought that guard could maybe be a late round target in the draft for him. Probably still is, but they're just adding, I think, a warm body there so that you're not just relying on Spencer Anderson to be the primary backup at two positions heading into the draft. Honestly, smart, if you're Omar Khan or really, any team, you want to have your roster pretty much having a guy filled out at each position so that you don't go into the draft with any glaring holes and you can take best, available most rounds. Okay, here, let's get back to where I was going here. Okay, yeah, so Lecitus Smith is a Pittsburgh Steeler, claimed off waivers from the New England Patriots. More O-line, great news, absolutely, Flocka. Can never have too much O-lineman in this day and age. You saw it last year with the Steelers. Troy Fautanu got knocked out for the season early in the year. Same thing with James Daniels. Zach Frazier missed some time. Isaac Seumalo, I believe, missed some time. And, pretty much your only regular starter, I think, for the whole season was Broderick Jones. And even then, he had a massive regression. And Dan Moore Jr., I should say. Dan Moore Jr. was, Mr. Dependable. It's just he was hit and miss. Yeah, our offensive lineman was dropping like flies. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's move on here to the draft. Speaking of the draft, we were just talking about there for a brief second. Steelers confirmed to be looking at more draft prospects over the weekend. Let's start with another defensive lineman that will be meeting with the Steelers within the coming days, maybe coming weeks, and that is Florida State defensive tackle Joshua Farmer. Farmer confirmed this at FSU's Pro Day on Friday. He's 6'3", 305 pounds, ran a solid 5.11 at 40 at the combine, and on a really terrible, just flat out bad Seminoles football team last year in college football. He had 4 sacks and 8 tackles for loss, I believe 32 tackles as well. So, good player on a bad team, could be a, steal for the Steelers, maybe in the second or third round, fourth round, if he so much fall that far. So, you wonder if Florida State lived up to their, not necessarily potential, but their reputation that they set for them, almost making the college football playoff 2 years ago, if they weren't so bad, or if Farmer was on a better team. You wonder how much his production would have gone up. But with this addition, the Steelers' list of top 30 pre-draft visits is now up to 11. That list includes, I'm going to read it off here, Louisville quarterback Tyler Shuck, Oklahoma State running back Ollie Gordon, Tennessee running back Dylan Sampson, Kansas State running back DJ Giddens, Virginia Tech running back Bayshal Tootin, Iowa State, a pair of Iowa State wide receivers in Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll, TCU wide receiver Savion Williams, Florida State defensive tackle Joshua Farmer, Mississippi defensive tackle JJ Pegues, and Iowa State defensive tackle Yaha Black, among at least 2 other local visits in West Virginia offensive guard Wyatt Millam and Pitt kicker Ben Sauls. So Steelers are growing their pre-draft visit list more and more as the days go on. And, just a couple of other prospects that are on the Steelers' radar, I should say. I said this on Friday. Steelers going to have a top 30 visit with Oklahoma State running back Ollie Gordon, like I just said in the list there. As I've stated here before, would absolutely be thrilled if he was a Pittsburgh Steeler when it is all said and done. He's 6'1", 226 pounds, sort of like a Najee Harris build, but I think has more burst. Had 13 rushing touchdowns in what some considered to be a down season for him last year. And let's not forget, he won the Doak Walker Award in 2023 for best college running back, so would love that. But now the Steelers are setting their eyes towards possibly another running back. This guy could possibly be a first-round pick come April, and that is UNC running back Omarion Hampton. Reporter for the Carolina Panthers, Mike Kay, confirmed that at least one Steelers representative was at UNC's pro day today. I think it wouldn't be a surprise if it was running back coach Eddie Faulkner. So also, another guy that the Steelers have interest in from UNC, that's tight end Bryson Nesbitt, who they met, had a brief interaction with at the Combine. So another possible Steelers representative who could be down there is tight end coach Alfredo Roberts, I believe his name is. So I probably butchered his name there. My mind went blank on who the Steelers tight end coach is. Pardon me. But back to Hampton. He's 6'1", 221 pounds. Ran a solid 4.46 for that heavy of a back. Had 1,660 rushing yards in 2024, and his accolades include him being a 2-time second-team AP All-American and a 2-time first-team All-ACC. So honestly speaking, I would consider Hampton at pick 21 if I'm the Steelers, because let's face it, he would easily be the top running back in the draft in most other draft classes if it weren't for a bona fide game changer in Ashton Jeanty being in front of him in this year's draft class. So, Omarion Hampton, Steelers, I think they have a type with what they're looking for at their respective positions that they're bringing in players for. Wide receiver, I think aside from Jalen Knoll from Iowa State, you got a 6'4" receiver in Jaden Higgins. You got a 6'5" receiver in Savion Williams. Sure, there's going to be some other bigger wide receivers that you see the Steelers interested in. And as for running back, I mean, just looking at the list here, Bashal Tutin, I think he's a smaller guy, but unsure about Dylan Sampson. I think he's at least 6 foot. DJ Giddens is 6 foot. Ollie Gordon 6'1", and Omarion Hampton 6 foot. So Steelers looking, I think, in this draft for a change of pace running back, because you got, 2 5'10" third down backs who can play some special teams, pretty much guys of the same, cut from the same cloth in Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell on the roster right now. So I think the Steelers are going to be probably picking a taller back when the draft rolls around here in April. And with that, go back to the comments here. I always think they were looking at Bond for speed, like always. I think you're talking about Isaiah Bond for Texas wide receiver. I wouldn't mind Bond, but I think they're going to put him in the same category. You already have one of those in a Calvin Austin, a smaller guy who's, slot capable, can also play outside, maybe a special teamer in Isaiah Bond from Texas there. But I think they just see, hey, we got 2 monsters in George Pickens and DK Metcalf. Let's just keep getting big physical monsters and out physical you, whether that be contested catches or blocking in the running game. That's what I meant, LOL. We always do that, though. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how far Isaiah Bond's going to fall in this draft. I think he's a day 2 selection, late day 2 selection, if I had to guess. But I'd be fine. I got a whole list here on my computer of, draft prospects who I think could be good Steelers, but we'll get to that at the draft. And speaking of the draft, let me figure out how to share my screen here. Okay, that's that. Present. There we go. Share screen. Let's get this mock draft here started. Let's go to the mock draft simulator here for PFF. Real quick, let's do this. I don't like that. You know what? I'm going to take myself and the banner off the screen here for a minute. All right, so let's do this mock draft simulator. So I think what we're going to do here is, as the weeks, we're officially 1 month out, by the way, from the draft. So I think what I'm going to do here is, change up how I do these mock drafts every so often. Today, we're just going to be the Steelers, go through this 7th round mock, talk about the potential options. Think if it's on the table here, I'd like to trade down in the 1st round, maybe recoup a 2nd round pick. But, like I said, as the weeks go on here, mock draft Mondays, might do one where it's like all the teams, but in the 1st round, might do one where, it's the Steelers and division rivals. Who knows? I think the final Monday before the draft begins on Thursday, April 24th, I think what we're going to do is we're going to list our top 21 prospects. Teams do this in the 1st round. You're pretty much picking best available. But if you're the Steelers, we list 21 names, and then Steelers are guaranteed to take in that mock or in that draft those 21 names. So we'll jot those down the final Monday before the real draft in April. So let's get into the draft here. PFF, of course. Going to start things off here. Going to sim through the first 10 picks real quick, and we'll go over them. Shocker there. That's hilarious. I just saw there the Browns take Shadur Sanders. I'd be absolutely laughing my head off at that. So just go over here. So you got Cam Ward going number 1. I think that's pretty much a guaranteed at this point. I think I want to say it was Ari Mirov, who's, not as big of an insider as Ian Rappaport, or Adam Schefter, not really one of the big insiders, but he did say that the Titans did host Cam Ward for a dinner last night. So I think it's guaranteed Cam Ward's going to be the number 1 overall pick in April. Shadur Sanders to the Browns. That is absolutely hilarious. This is, I'm going to say this is right here is a Patriots fan dream right here. And honestly, I'd be cool with it because the one pick that I do not want the Browns to make, I want them to be stupid and do this. Take Shadur Sanders or Cam Ward if he falls to there. But I do not want the Browns taking Abdul Carter. You get probably, what's going to be an elite pass rusher in the draft, putting him next to one of the elite pass rushers in the NFL currently. I would hate to deal with 2 of those guys on the Browns defensive linemen. So Browns, please do something stupid and take Shadur Sanders at number 2. Travis Hunter to the New York Giants at number 3. Flacco, I see in your comments here, can't pop it up while I'm sharing the screen, but Malik Neighbors and Travis Hunter is a problem. That, I think they're drafting Travis Hunter because you need someone to both catch touchdown passes from Jameis Winston and, Travis Hunter, who is also a corner. You need someone to tackle the opposition when Jameis Winston throws an interception. So, I could very easily see Travis Hunter being the Giants pick at number 3. If the Browns take Travis Hunter, not entirely sure how I'd feel about it. Probably not great, but so much better than if they were to take Abdul Carter. So Travis Hunter 3 to the Giants. Mason Graham, number 5 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's pretty much another one of those that's feels like a guaranteed pick, kind of like Cam Ward at number 1. Armand Membo and Will Campbell back-to-back tackles to the Raiders and Jets. Some protection there. One of the best tackles in this draft. The best tackle in this draft, in my opinion, Will Campbell to the Jets at number 7. He's going to be protecting Justin Fields. Ashton Jeanty to the Panthers. Bit of a shock there. Thought they'd be, A-okay with, I think, Brooks, the running back that they drafted from Texas, I think, last year. And Chuba Hubbard, who they just gave a payday to. But Ashton Jeanty, an interesting pick there. Teteroa McMillan, wide receiver, going down to the Bayou with Brandon Cooks and Chris Olave. Tight end Tyler Warren to the Bears. That is a very interesting pick. The Bears have Cole Kmet, who's a pretty good tight end, but maybe they are thinking, let's get 2 great tight ends and just run 2 tight end personnel on the field most of the time. Flacco in the comments, I really want Jeanty, but we need a quarterback. If Genty's there at 21, I'm running to the podium unless there's really one of the super elite defensive linemen on the board. I think Genty's that kind of guy. So let's sim here up to the Steelers pick. Let's go to 20 real quick, and then paused it a little too early there. Okay, get Malachi Starks off the screen. So before we make a pick or look at the trade offers here, 11, Jahdae Barron going to San Francisco. Shamar Stewart to the Dallas Cowboys. He gets to partner up with Micah Parsons. That seems like a Cowboys pick right there. I expect in April, Shamar Stewart to probably go to the Falcons. He's one of those guys who I think is has lit it up in college, but then once he gets to the NFL, all those physical attributes are, not going to flash as much. Jahad Campbell to the Dolphins, linebacker from Alabama. Okay with that pick there. Jalen Walker, linebacker to the Colts. Think they're going to get Tyler Warren when it's all said and done. Michael Williams, Georgia edge rusher to the Falcons. About damn time that the Falcons take a first-round defensive lineman. Matthew Golden, second wide receiver off the board. Going to be catching passes from Kyler Murray in Arizona. Will Johnson, corner from Michigan, goes to the Bengals. An interesting pick for the Bengals. So have them at having Cam Taylor-Britt on one side of the field and Will Johnson on the other. Let me see. Where's Will Johnson's? 6'2", 202. So pretty lanky corner. That'd be a smart move for the Bengals against T. Higgins and Will Johnson. Be a smart pick against DK Metcalf and George Pickens. I should say you get a big corner against a big wide receiver. And then 2 edge rushers, Donovan Ezeraku and Mike Green, go to the Bucks and Seahawks. And then, damn, Kenneth Grant, right before the Steelers pick, goes off the board at 20 to the Broncos. That is so unfortunate right there. That I would have probably just picked him right away, no questions asked. But Kenneth Grant gone. That would have been my pick. But let's see. Can we trade back? No, Panthers are the only trade offer here with pick 57. Can I talk to one of these guys? You know what? Let me see real quick if I can make a trade with the Houston Texans. They got pick 58, so a little behind where the Steelers would have been picking in the second round. They're not interested in trading this pick. Damn. All right, so I guess I can't trade. So I guess it's time to pick a player. Don't really like that. Malachi Starks, not interested in a safety, though I'm sure he's got the talent to be a good NFL safety. Luther Burden, wide receiver. Emeka Egbuka, who, if the Steelers hadn't traded for, DK Metcalf a couple of weeks ago, I would have slam dunk ran to the podium for Egbuka. You got 2, let's say, hungry wide receivers in George Pickens and DK Metcalf, but they're going to snap on the field from time to time. Egbuka is the complete opposite of that. Level-headed dude, just team-first mentality. Would love to take him here. Kelvin Banks, tackle from Texas. I think he's going to go well before this pick when the draft rolls around in April. I mean, not interested in taking a tackle. So you got Walter Nolan, defensive tackle from Mississippi, 6'3", I believe. His bio pops up. Yeah, 6'3", 305. I'd be interested in that, but again, it is a deep defensive tackle draft. Derek Harmon, okay, I want to look at this guy, 6'5", 310. Dude is tested like Cam Hayward in the combine and at his pro day. So right now, he's my top pick. Darius Alexander is also there, older prospect. So, excuse me. So, James Pierce, edge rusher, Tennessee, also interests me, but probably not going to pick him here. I just want to take a look at what his bio is, if it'll pull up here. 6'5", 243, so less heavier guy. Walter Nolan or Derek Harmon. I think both of them, if they're there, Steelers are definitely taking one of them. Love you, Egbuka. Gonna pass on you. Luther Burden, same thing here. Gonna pass on you. Marion Hampton would probably consider taking you, but you are may go before this pick. Honestly, I could see Omari and Hampton going to the Broncos and then Kenneth Grant slides. But we're going to go Derek Harmon here simply because he's a bigger guy, and Walter Nolan, I love him, and he had a good showing at the Senior Bowl. I think Mike Tomlin was all over him there. And then, but, I also think Walter Nolan, now this is just purely speculation, and I am just going off of hearing this from former NFL scouts like Matt Williamson. Maybe Walter Nolan has some off the field stuff going on right now. But, Derek Harmon anyways, bigger guy, tests like Cam Hayward. You're looking for a Cam Hayward replacement in this draft. So, Derek Harmon it is. Let's look in here. Egbuka went off the board. Egbuka back with C.J. Stroud. That's a smart pick there for the Texans. And then Walter Nolan. Damn. The Vikings going heavy defensive line. They got Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave in free agency, and now they draft Walter Nolan? Crazy. Nick Amenwari to the Ravens at 27. Again, another smart, brilliant pick there by the Ravens. They get a monster athletic freak at safety next to Kyle Hamilton, and it's another guy to combat the size of DK Metcalf and George Pickens. So hate that pick for the Ravens, but it's smart for them at the same time. All right, going to resume the draft here. We're going to go all the way to the Steelers pick at 83. And me not, I know some of you are asking, where's Jackson Dart there? Reason why I didn't even consider Dart there at 21 is because I'm automatically assuming Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Steeler when it's all said and done. It's going to speed up the pick process here. Quinshon Judkins and Tre'Veon. Hold up here. I'm going to pause this real quick. So, no quarterback has gone off the board yet since Sanders at number 2. But we just had a run on running backs. Caleb Johnson, who I think could be an option for the Steelers, went off the board. But let's just look at what the Steelers' divisional opponents went. James Pierce to the Browns. So they are heavy, or that's their edge rusher opposite Myles Garrett there. Bengals take Xavier Watts. Watts, I'm sure, is a bigger safety. So back to back, 6 foot even, so not really that tall, but still. And then this is what really gets me here. Back to back Ohio State running backs, who I love both of them, go off the board back to back. Quinshon Judkins, Ohio State guy. It's going to be the Ohio State Texans after this draft. He goes back down there with C.J. Stroud, but I hate this. You have Derrick Henry. Why are you drafting Travion Henderson there, Baltimore? I hate the Ravens. Why you got Derrick Henry? You don't need another elite running back. And then you also have Patrick Ricard at fullback. Like, you do not need to go that run heavy against us. That right there is just going to make me probably take another defensive lineman high in this mock draft. Jackson Dart, a early round 3 selection, first pick in round 3. Jackson Dart off the board to the New York Giants. So there goes Dart. Jalen Milroe still on the board. Maybe I consider him. Cam Scatabo also went in the second round to the Buccaneers. Flacco, I see you in the comments going, Steelers are probably looking to draft someone with a Bettis build. Well, that's your Cam Bettis of this, or your Jerome Bettis of this draft right here in Cam Scatabo. He's gone. Jaden Higgins, wide receiver, gone. Darian Porter, who I like, gone. So, who did Cleveland Browns take there real quick? Josiah Stewart. Okay, don't really know or care for that pick. Jalen Milroe, 71st overall to the Saints. So, Steelers definitely not taking a quarterback unless it's late in the draft now. And then Bengals took another safety. Don't understand that pick. But now the Steelers are back on the clock. We do have a trade offer here. The Jags offering pick 88. Not really worried about trading back and recouping any more picks right now. Steelers are going to have a ton of comp picks in 2026, and we got some decent picks left in this draft. So looking here from the Steelers, we're looking running back, maybe wide receiver, probably not. Though Trey Harris from Ole Miss is on the board. I like him. I think he's a taller guy too. Yeah, 6'3". Like Trey Harris. DJ Giddens is there. Could see him. Damian Martinez I like, but not this early. Would I be insane if I took Deion Walker here? Regardless of draft position, Deion Walker is probably my favorite defensive tackle prospect in this draft. And you want to know why? Right here. These two things right here. 6'6", 345 pounds, and he's 21 years old. The Steelers got ran over by Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson in that playoff game. And who better to combat Derrick Henry than a dude who's 6'6", 345 pounds? It's very, very hard for me not to take him right here. But real quick, let me just go here. What are the running backs left? Not much good. I mean, I was hoping Dylan Sampson or Ollie Gordon would be here at this point. But I think we're pretty much down to taking one of these 3 guys right here. Oh, Bashal Tutin's also here too. Hang on. Bashal Tutin, 5'11", 209. Dude is an absolute speedster. An inch taller than Jalen Warren in that, but DJ Giddens, 6'1", 212. He's been going around this point. So just real quick, what's Devin Neal? Devin Neal had a good Senior Bowl and all that. But you know what? I think at this point, Steelers need a third running back in that room. But screw it. I'm losing my mind. We're taking Deion Walker, and we are going to hope and pray that Bashal Tutin or someone like that falls to pick 123 here. So Deion Walker, we're investing in the trenches. We're investing in the trenches. We got Keanu Benton. And the thing is that like it's not too insane that Steelers take back-to-back defensive tackles like that, because honestly, Deion Walker, a big guy at 6'6", 345, he's not going to be in there every snap. He's only going to be in there on, pass rush or run stopping snaps. So looking here, Damian Martinez went off the board. Isaiah Bond was still on the board, but didn't really need to take a wide receiver this early. DJ Giddens did go off the board. Same with Devin Neal. And I do not see Bayshal Tootin. Damian Martinez. Did Bayshal Tootin not go? Okay. So, I mean, real interesting here. Will Howard. Will Howard's there. That's enticing. Noel Williams is a corner I like in the middle rounds. Riley Leonard intrigues me. Not really seeing anything else here. So, yeah, Bayshal Tootin. Steelers fans love him. And now we have a burner in the backfield. So, simming here. Real quick, I just want to take a look if the Browns or Bengals or Ravens did anything interesting. Ravens took Cameron Williams tackles from Texas. Don't care. Devin Neal did go to the Browns, so the Browns got a Nick Chubb replacement there. They then took Jacob Parrish, a corner. Is he a bigger corner? 5'10", so no, don't really. I like Jacob Parrish as a possible corner for the Steelers, but who cares? George Pickens is just going to go up and over him. Same with DK Metcalf. And Jonas Sanker. That's 3 safeties now that the Bengals have taken in this mock draft. What is this simulator doing? That's insane. Jack Kaiser, linebacker to the Ravens. Okay, linebacker prospect, will probably start his career as a special teamer and maybe a guy who rotates in there. But, Steelers signed Malik Harrison from the Ravens, so that's who they replace him with. And then who they take here at pick 136, Tyler Beatty, edge rusher from BYU. Another guy late in the draft who I like. Looking here, Steelers' next pick is right now at pick 156. Bengals finally, after taking 3 safeties in a row, took a guard at 153. And is there any other picks before this? No. So Steelers are on the clock now. Quinn Ewers is there. You got Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph, who are pocket quarterbacks, pocket passing quarterbacks right now. Quinn Ewers is pretty much that. Be interested in there. Kyle Williams, wide receiver from Washington State. I am intrigued by him here. Kyle McCord also, one of the best, if not the best, pocket passer from college football this past season. Kobe Hudson's there. Upton Stout is there. Jackson Hawes. Isaac Tesla. Nick Nash. Nick Nash, sleeper wide receiver in this draft. San Jose State, not a real popular school, but he produces. And Denzel Burke's still there. You know what? We're going to go this guy. We're taking a chance on Tyler Shuck. He fell to this point, but I think he's a better quarterback prospect than Ewers. So, Tyler Shuck, welcome to the team. Looking else here. Pick 185, 2 more picks to go. These are all a bunch of comp picks over here. Ravens take Jackson Hawes, tight end. So, that might be a move if they decide to move on from Mark Andrews. Isaiah Likely's pretty much the number 1 tight end on that team now, and Mark Andrews has become replaceable. So Jackson Hawes, big guy, blocking tight end. So that is going to be a bitch of a running game to stop for the Ravens. If you got Lamar Jackson at quarterback, Derrick Henry and Travion Henderson in the backfield, Patrick Ricard at fullback, and now on top of your offensive line, you got Jackson Hawes as your blocking tight end. That's insane. Logan Brown, tackle to the Browns, don't care. And then Denzel Burke did go off the board. See, would have considered Denzel Burke here at 185. But he goes to the Ravens. So now we're back on the board here. Tackle Emory Jones. Steelers do need a swing tackle, and Emory Jones I do like as a quarterback, as a tackle in this draft. Could be interesting there. Caleb Ransaw, like as a safety. Not really looking for special teamers here, and that's pretty much what we're limited to here. Oh, he is here. Get out. Ollie Gordon is here, but I already took DJ Giddens. I just assumed that he was gone earlier. Too late now, but I gotta pay attention. Just go back to the running backs draft. I thought he'd be way gone before this. But you know what? Steelers need a swing tackle, and Emory Jones, I like him. And worst case scenario, or best case scenario, if Broderick Jones or Troy Fautanu, disappoint, more likely, this is a make or break year for Broderick Jones. So if Jones turns out to be a bust, you move on from him, move Fautanu over to left tackle, put Emory Jones at right. So Ollie Gordon's probably going to go off the board now for the Steelers' last pick at 229. Real quick, Taj Brooks, another running back prospect I could see the Steelers taking. He goes to the Browns, so the Browns now have two running backs. Jack Nelson, tackle to the Browns. John Williams, tackle to the Bengals. And that's it for AFC North. Oh, Achille Arnold. Don't really know him. He's gone. Ollie Gordon gone. Ravens take a running back, LaQuint Allen, and a safety, Elijah Clark, two Syracuse players there. Dean Clark, safety from Fresno State, to the Browns. Resume. And now we're back up on the board. So, tight end Luke Lachey. People have been pronouncing it Lashy, but I think it's Lachey. He's here. I could take him. I mean, you got you got three tight ends, but if there was ever a tight end university, it's Iowa. George Kittle, Sam Laporta. I'm sure more that I'm forgetting right now, but very tempted here. But it's time for the Steelers to take a wide receiver. Hunter Wohler, also like him in his game. But we're going to take a wide receiver here, and none better on this board right now that I'm seeing other than Will Shepherd. Or do we take a corner? Hang on, we might take a corner. Let's go. What corners are left? Not much. Yeah, just that. Oop. We still live here? We still good? Sorry, folks. My screen blacked out there for a second. All right, not any corners there worth taking. Luke Lachey. I want to take Lachey, but Steelers need... Well, hang on. Because here's the Steelers wide receiver room right now. You got DK Metcalf and George Pickens. Those are your starters. In the slot, you're going to have Calvin Austin, or finally a healthy Roman Wilson, who's pretty much going to be a slot. And then behind those guys, you got Ben Skoranek and Scotty Miller. So that's 6 wide receivers right now, not to mention if you sign any more in free agency. Yeah, I'm going to go wide receiver. Will Shepherd's going to be my pick. He's the best out of all of them here. Lachey interests me, but we got 3 tight ends already in Freiermuth and Darnell Washington and Donald Parham. So Will Shepherd, welcome to the team. Let's see what grade they give me. Let's look in here. Are there any more picks from the AFC North? Lachey went off the board almost immediately after that. Ravens, they took Clay Webb, guard. Don't care. Browns, They get a linebacker, so let's see what grade they give me. A C for Derek Harmon, a D for Deion Walker, understandable. B for Bashal Tootin, C for Tyler Shuck, A for Emery Jones, and a C for Will Shepard. All right, so PFF gave me a C. I mean, I can live with it. Not the best mock draft I've ever done, but certainly not the worst. So I'm going to leave that there. We're going to see what all goes on. Probably going to post that later, and people probably flame me on Twitter, but let me get myself back up on the screen here. All right, so yeah, there we go. Not the best mock draft I've done, not the worst either, so I'll live with it. Real quick, let's just hit on some Pirates and Penguins news. Let's get the Penguins news out of the way first. Not much. They lost in a shootout last night to the reigning defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. So, got a point really in their best. It's really for the best that they lost. Still trying to get a top 5 draft pick this year. One of their best prospects in defenseman Harrison Brunick. He is. Where'd my bookmarks go on here? Stop sharing my screen. Where did my bookmarks go here? Oh, there they are. One of the best Penn's best prospects in defenseman Harrison Brunick. The junior season for hockey leagues around the world is ending, so he's going to join the Wilkes-Barre Penguins in the AHL for a push for the Calder Cup in playoffs there. By all means, if you're sick of watching the Pittsburgh Penguins, tune in and watch the Baby Pens in the AHL. They are a hell of a team, and you're going to see a handful of these guys in the NHL next season, I promise you. So, Pens' big main club sucks, but their farm team is good. And moving on to the Pirates here. Pirates, like I said, they played their final spring training game this afternoon. And in typical Bucks fashion, they lost their last 5 spring training games to wrap up the spring training campaign. Just going over the ones over the weekend. On Friday, they lost to the Red Sox 2-1. On Saturday, they lost to the Orioles 4-0. Got no hit in that game. Only the Pirates can get no hit in spring training. Another 2-1 loss to the Toronto Blue Jays on Sunday. And then they lost this afternoon 5-1 to the Minnesota Twins. So the Bucks not ending spring training on a high note, but their rosters are getting finalized just since we last spoke. The Pirates optioned infielder and outfielder Billy Cook and outfielder Nick York to AAA. Also optioned catcher Henry Davis. So Endy Rodriguez does win the backup catching job over Henry Davis. Right choice. Henry would love to see what he's got in the MLB, but Endy, after missing all of last year, he's had a hot spring training, and he deserves this. And also, he does have first base playing capability. He played there today. Endy Rodriguez was the first baseman in today's game against the Twins, and probably, I think he could play there on Thursday, be the opening day first baseman, but he's going to be back up to Joey Bart as well. So Endy Rodriguez wins out that job. Derek Shelton did confirm that, and he's going to be playing some first base as well. Probably the shock move thus far from the Pirates finalizing their roster. Right-handed pitcher Kyle Nicholas got optioned to AAA Indy. Nicholas last year, 51 games, went 2-2 with a 3.95 ERA. The Bucks bullpen was pretty bad to end the year last year, but Nicholas was one of the bright spots in there. Shocked that he got sent down. David Bednar has had a somewhat disappointing spring training and not entirely sure. He probably starts out the season as the closing pitcher, but you're not sure how long, if he struggles, how long he's going to hold on to that spot. And Nicholas was a guy that, on some other teams, he's a closing pitcher, but here he's getting optioned to AAA. Probably going to, probably means that, he's got a few options left. He'll be back up eventually, but you're probably going to see like Tanner Rainey, a guy who was a spring training invite, make the team now, and Rainey had a good spring training by all means. Alex Stumpf, Pirates reporter for MLB.com, this was today, said that Ryan Borucki, left-handed pitcher who was on the Bucs last year, only got re-signed to a minor league deal with a spring training invite. He is expected to be on the Bucs opening day roster in Miami. Meanwhile, another surprise, first baseman DJ Stewart is not going to make the team. Stewart probably would have been, other than Jared Triolo and, Endy Rodriguez more recently, probably was my top pick to be your opening day first baseman until Spencer Horwitz returns, but he is going to not make the opening day roster. Borucki will need to be added to the 40-man roster, while Stewart, he has an opt-out in his contract for today, so he might not be on the team too much longer. Also, just going back, this was over the weekend, the Bucs added right-handed pitcher Hunter Stratton to the 40-man roster. Happy for Stratton. Pretty serviceable relief pitcher, and had that devastating knee injury late last season that had him carted off the field. Glad that he's back and that he is doing well. So he's on the team now, and the Bucs optioned, or I should say designated for assignment, outfielder Joshua Palacios. Palacios knew he wasn't going to make the roster, didn't know he was going to get DFA'd, but you know what? If you need him in a pinch, he's good there, and he's a vibes guy. I hope he clears waivers and that he'll be back on the team at some point this season. And then the last bit of news as of right now about the Bucs finalizing their roster. Thomas Harrington, Bucs' second pitching prospect behind Bubba Chandler. He is not going to make the team. Rumors were out there that he was possibly going to make the opening day roster with Jared Jones probably starting the year on the shelf. So, Thomas Harrington is not going to make the opening day roster. That was confirmed, even though he was the starting pitcher today. The Bucs' fifth rotational pitcher, and this is a bit confusing for me, is going to be Carmen Mlodzinski. So Mlodzinski's your fifth rotational guy right now, probably until Jared Jones returns. Mlodzinski hasn't been a full-time starting pitcher in like 3 years. He's been the Bucs' long relief pitcher. That's probably where he's, best suited in the major leagues. But it's going to be Skeens, Keller, Andrew Heaney, Bailey Falter, and Carmen Mlodzinski as your opening day rotation until Jared Jones gets back from his injury. And I wonder, if Mlodzinski being the fifth rotation man instead of Thomas Harrington, I wonder if that means good news for Jared Jones. Maybe his injury isn't as severe as we all think. So hopefully that's good news. But I mean, looking at let me pull up the Pirates roster as of right now. So your opening day roster, you're going to have your rotation of Skeens, Keller, Falter, Heaney, and Mlodzinski. Jared Jones, he's probably going to start the year on the IL. If I had to guess, your bullpen's going to have David Bednar, Caleb Ferguson, Colin Holderman, Tim Meza, Dennis Santana, Brian Borucki, maybe, and here's the fringe guys here. Hunter Stratton's going to make the opening day roster, I think. But some fringe guys who could be there, Joey Wentz, Peter Strzelecki, Justin Lawrence. He's a guy, former closer for the Rockies, who the Bucs claimed off of waivers a little under a month ago. I don't remember seeing or hearing much of him in spring training in a Bucs uniform, but I'd be interested. I wonder if he's going to make the Bucs opening day roster. I don't know. Your catchers are going to be Joey Bart and Andy Rodriguez. Bart the starter. Rodriguez probably filling in at first base. Your infield, Ke'Bryan Hayes, starting third baseman. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, starting shortstop. Nick Gonzalez, starting second base. And then, depending on if Rodriguez plays first, Jared Triolo is your starting first baseman. And then you got a backup, Adam Frazier. And then also Spencer Horwitz will be back as the starting first baseman when he's healthy. And then outfield, no surprise, starters, O'Neal Cruz in center, Tommy Pham in left, Brian Reynolds in right. And not sure if both are going to make the opening day roster, but if it's a battle for backup outfielder right now, you got Jack Suwinski and G1 Bay. Jack Suwinski's edging out G1 Bay in that race right now. So Bay's probably going to go to AAA, but hell of a spring training by G1 Bay. But Jack Suwinski, think hopefully Matt Haig has gotten through to him on being, finding his swing and that power again. And then Andrew McCutchen's your designated hitter. So should be getting news of the Bucs opening day roster here maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. Of course, I will report that when it becomes official. So, yeah, in the meantime, opening up the floor here to any more questions. Just going to go through a quick, look here at the Twitter here. Miami's Pro Day going on right now on the screen to my right here. Cam Ward is throwing. Let me do that. Let me put this back on. Yeah, Cam Ward is throwing at his Pro Day right now. Looking here. Another defensive lineman having a pre-draft visit with the Steelers. That is SMU defensive lineman Elijah Roberts. Dude is pretty athletic. Stood out at the combine for me. He's now going to be a top 30 visit for the Steelers. Had 17 and a half sacks over the last 2 seasons. Did Roberts. So, let me go here. Elijah Roberts. Do a little quick synopsis on him. Elijah Roberts, defensive lineman from SMU, had a good season there in the ACC. Pretty much ended the season of my Pitt Panthers. I think a loss to them started the slide. 6'4", 285. So you're probably looking at him as more of an edge guy there. Senior, 10 and a quarter hands, 33 and 5/8 arms. So got some pretty decently long arms there. So I like that. Probably looking at him as a later round pick, maybe instead of the mock draft I did, instead of Deion Walker taking him, I maybe wait for Roberts into like the 5th or 6th round then. So comment here from Flacco. I'm a Floridian, but my poor UConn lost to Florida. Assume you're talking about March Madness. I kind of checked out there after. Pretty much the only Pittsburgh team in Robert Morris got knocked out. Brandon Cooks should have been a Steeler 2 years ago, man. I would have still considered him there if he's going to be playing slot. But, I wonder how much that knee injury for him last year really hampered his stock. There we go. So we might actually get the Aaron Rodgers news on the Pat McAfee big night in Pittsburgh here in early April. It's going to be streamed live on YouTube, X, and TikTok. So if we don't hear any Aaron Rodgers news until then, ladies and gentlemen, watch that. I know I am. He's going to probably walk out, announce that he's signing with the Steelers, and that'll be that. Looking more here through Twitter, not seeing much of anything. So, okay. All right, I think that's going to do it. We were on here for over an hour tonight. Thank you to Flacco and to all the rest of you who tuned in here tonight. Had a good stream, I think. Enjoyed doing the mock draft. Going to do another one next Monday. Appreciate you all. Appreciate you, Flacco, and appreciate you, Tom, who I believe commented earlier. Yep, Tom right here. If you're still here, Tom. Appreciate you all. Thank you for tuning in here tonight. I'll be back around this time tomorrow evening. And thank you very much for joining me. Like, share, and comment this stream, and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. And with that, thank you guys very much. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.